guys, it's OK.Fishing here. I'm Christian.
And I'm Jaden, and welcome back to Echoes in the Timber.
Today's big one. What episode are we on?
Number 10.
Number 10. Number 10.
This many.
A lot. We're on number 10, so we're doing pretty good. Welcome back to another one, and today, so we're gearing up. We're thinking about hunting as our fishing season is kind of closing down, as you guys see.
Although it'll never truly be closed.
Yeah, especially now that we go fly fishing. Fly fishing has opened so many doors.
I know. So we've unlocked a new part of the map.
Yeah, it's like we owned the two maps, High Hirschfeld, and we owned Layton Lakes.
Yeah.
But now we own Yukon and we own Savannah, and we're starting to own them all. Eventually we'll own all of them.
Yeah, we just had to travel. We had to travel a little farther outside of the gray zone.
Yeah. And disturb some waters that are untraced. No people, just the occasional.
Disturbed is a good word for it, because most of the time we're in it. We're in the water. Most of the time we're actually in the water.
But hey, I'm glad y'all have joined us for our 10th episode, and I guess we'll get right into this. So our Backwoods Bulletin. Jaden has brought something up to me which I think is pretty neat, especially if you're the one who targets this specific species. So I'll let Jaden go into it.
So before in Oklahoma that we've had on muzzleloader hunting for black bear, there's been a quota. Christian's gonna find the exact number.
I believe it was 200.
I think it was 200, but that means everybody can buy the tag across the state, buy the license and everything for it, but you would have to check that quota every day, and once that 200 quota was met,
20 bears.
20 actually, not 200.
Until 20 have been harvested. What about...
So once they hit that 20 mark, basically everybody else that bought those tags and license, it's basically just void. Like, it's no worth now. Like, you can't hunt bear anymore. Your season's over once that quota is met. But now they have removed the quota. There's no more quota for muzzleloader hunting black bear. And it starts...
Okay, there wasn't any in 2025. Let's check 2024.
That one's for archery.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to look back in time. Let's try 2021. It might not be keeping the data, because I swear it was the same number.
Yeah, I don't think there was a quota for the archery part.
Okay, because it was only open from October 1st to October 19th.
Yeah. But no more quota for muzzleloader hunting black bear. And then there's also been another pretty new...
Well, before we get into that, let's be specific. There are only certain counties where you can legally hunt black bears in Oklahoma. So let's give them this information before we throw them to the wolves. Okay, there's archery season. Okay, muzzleloader season. Open in the same counties. So it's open in the Choctaw County, Haskell County, Latimer County, LaFleur, McCurtain, Pushmata, a portion of McIntosh south of I-40, portion of Muskogee south of I-40, portion of Sequoia south of I-40, portion of Atoka, east of US 69, portion of Bryan County, east of 69, portion of McIntosh, east of US 69, and portion of Pittsburgh County, east of US 69. That's what, like central Oklahoma or something?
Oh, it's all over the place.
Is that. Where are all these counties? Let me pull up a county map.
That's all around us.
Okay, county map. Okay. Let's see. So here's Muskogee. Here's Sequoia. Here's McIntosh. Here's Haskell. Here's LaFleur.
Yeah,
They
see
mentioned So southeastern Oklahoma. They mention. What else did they mention? Bryan, Atoka, Pittsburgh. Bryan, Atoka. So southern and Pittsburgh. Okay, just a line right
basically
there.
the whole lower corner of the state.
Yeah, and looks like they included. Did they include McCurtain? No, they didn't. You can't hunt them in. No, you can. McCurtain. Okay, there it is. And Pushmata. So yeah, literally just basically south of Wagner and Cherokee County. If y'all are curious what areas we hunt both maize and Cherokee. So we don't have to go a whole long ways to legally hunt black bears, but yeah, it looks like there's actually quite a bit of area you can hunt. I mean, that's all the southeastern corner of Oklahoma. Okay, let's get into the next thing. So, this
Let
right
you do
here.
that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna double check what the age used to be. Actually, I probably won't be able to find it easy. Okay, so they have changed the age of what a youth hunt can do. So, like, used to in Oklahoma, youth hunts which is October, usually like the
There's a couple
third.
of them. There's one in like
It's
December.
it's what, the third weekend of Oklahoma though. The first, like, I thought youth hunt is the third weekend of Oklahoma of
Well, there's youth
October.
and there's youth rifle.
Yeah,
There's a youth pretty much in every season.
yeah. Youth rifle is, I believe, it's the third weekend of uh, October. So just before, it might be the second. It's just before muzzleloader season. It's like the weekend before muzzleloader season, usually, is where it's at. And youth, if you're used to, it was like maybe 15. I feel like you could hunt them at 16. Maybe it was 15 though. Maybe it
Yeah, I
was
feel like
16.
it's 15.
I feel
Because
like it was at
16 is
least.
when you had to start buying the license,
Yeah,
I
it was.
believe.
It was at least 15, and at 16 you have to buy the license for $5 plus the tags. But used to, you could, if you were older than 15, then you couldn't hunt the youth season. But now 17 and younger can hunt the youth season. So that's going to open a lot of doors. We're going to see a lot of bucks harvested before muzzleloader season, because this is, I mean, youth season really is a killer for a lot of the season and beyond. But I will say this, I may not be a youth, but if a youth does shoot my target buck, he better post it all online so I can see the beautiful deer, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'd be pretty upset that my deer was gone, but at least a youth took it, you know? It was someone who I would say maybe deserves it a little more than the guy who doesn't do anything on his land and just hunts land right next to a giant feeder, you know? Like, there's the people that literally will set up their stand. In fact, I have a stand within 100 yards of my food plot that's on the other side, that's not my property. Why did they put their stand there? Maybe it's the best spot, or maybe they're hunting deer that are coming from my food plot or going towards my food plot. I don't really know, but I don't like that guy. I'm glad last year when I hunted, I never heard a shot coming from his stand. And one time when I was hunting, this upset me more than anything. I went to my stand like this was during rifle season. I think it was opening day or something. I got to my stand. We'll say sunrise. Legal or sunrise. We'll say was 6:30. So legal hunting time was 6. I I got to my hunting property around 4:52 or something, and I was in my stand at like 5:08. So pretty early in the morning. I get in my stand. I'm climbing up in my stand, and I turn off my light, and all of a sudden there's a big white light shining towards me all through the woods, like probably 300 yards from me, and they were like shining directly at me, and they did that for like 10 minutes straight. It was so annoying. They literally arguably ruined my morning hunt. It I have no idea why they were just sitting there pointing a bright flashlight at me when they can't even see me. Like, I'm on my property.
Deer can definitely see that white
Yeah,
too.
deer can see it. I know because I have scared deer with flashlights before.
I've got pictures on my. I actually got one saved on my phone because it's funny. You see me and my dad walking down the trail to go fill up feeders in the early morning time, and there's deer sitting there mid mid step running away, and all you see is me and my dad carrying a bucket with a flashlight. Like mid step is that deer running away, and the flashlight's shining right at it. We walked right up on deer eating, and the flashlight's what scared them.
Yeah, I was out hunting last year, and I hunted my stand that this stand I'm talking about, and I'm going back, and I always check my camera on the way back because I have one with a screen, and so I can just check the camera and delete some of the pictures, and then I get to leave the SD card in there and don't have to mess with it. But I open it up. The first picture is, of course, me because I just got there. The picture before that was of deer, and I'm like, oh, that must have been from the day before. I read the time. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I go back because the time was wrong. And then I go back to the time it said. Those deer were there like 2 minutes before I got there. And I'm convinced with my. I was using a green light and they ran. I never even saw them or heard them. My guess is they heard me though. I don't think they saw the light because it was at the end of the hunting day. Like it was already pitch black. But if I would have hunted that stand, I would have had a chance at them. So it does kind of suck, I guess. But you know, stuff happens. Well, do we want to get into our catch of the week? To catch of the week. So yesterday we went out and we fished for some hybrids. We took out Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of the Roman Empire. But no, he ain't royalty. But we took him out. We got him on some fish, and we also got into a lot of fish. So this picture here is a 5 gallon bucket. Well, I don't know what the picture is.
It'll be the 5 gallon bucket plus some
Yeah.
of them laid out on
So
the ground.
the 5 gallon bucket was completely full of fish, and there was fish laying on the ground too that couldn't fit in the bucket. So it was quite a bit of fish, at least probably 30, I'd say, maybe 40, somewhere around there. But quite a few fish, so a good day. And I mean, some memorable catches, I'd say when I caught 6 in a row, and then when we got Marcus on his first one, that was pretty cool.
I got hit in the forehead with a jig head.
Yeah, that was.
One spit right next to the kayak, spit the hook, and it had so much tension. And I tried to duck, and I ducked right into a 1/4 ounce jig head.
Yeah, he caught a different kind of fish. He caught himself.
Right between the eyes, too. It was a good shot.
Dude, like David and Goliath.
That fish was a good shot, man. He been he
Oh.
been taking notes. We are being hunted by fish.
Well, I mean, we were just sitting there ripping lips, and they wanted some kind of revenge. Glad they chose you and not me, though.
I know. I'm glad that hook. I'm glad it hit weight first, I guess, and not hook first. Still hurt,
Yeah.
but it didn't stick.
Well, I guess that's all for catch of the week. Let's go on to gear on the table. This is one that is so we have two. We kind of have this separated: worms and artificial worms. So both of them are really, really good.
Just everything
You know,
worms.
like a live earthworm, you can catch anything on it, and they are always gonna work. If you can't catch a fish on a worm, there's not any fish out there. Like, I'll be honest. And I think a plastic worm is kind of the same thing. Bass really love plastic worms. Whether you Texas rig it, or wacky rig it, or drop shot rig it, there's a Ned rig. There's a lot of different ways you can rig it. And people have been catching fish with them for a long time. But I will tell you this. Um, did I ever post that video of me fly fishing? I don't
Not
think I
yet.
did. I have a video of me fly fishing with live worms, and live worms are incredible. You can see me there just catching them left and right, and it was really fun, and I would recommend that. I would I like to do weightless. I will take the worm, I'll put it on the hook without a weight, and I'll just barely cast it out there because you can't cast it very far. And then you'll kind of jig it up and down, and a fish will just bite it. You just got to watch the fishing line. So don't use a bobber or anything. Or you can use a bobber. But bobbers, sometimes those little fish, or they're more timid, or the little fish, um, I don't know. I struggle hooking into the smaller fish, but when I do a free floating hook, I can catch the little fish a lot easier, I feel like. Which I just want to catch bluegill, because a lot of times I'm catching them for bait. And so I just need to catch the little ones, is the ones I want, you know? But, yeah. Is there any particular ways you hook a worm usually?
Live or plastic?
Like, how about live? How do you usually fish with a live worm?
So if I'm fishing for something small like bluegill, I'll just take a little piece on a
Yeah.
little tiny hook. But catfish, I like to take half to a whole worm and
Yes.
thread the whole worm on there and leave like a little bit of it hanging off because in the water that little bit will sit there in the water and it'll move around and stuff, draw
Yeah,
some attention.
if and really any kind of hook works good. Circle hooks, J hooks, um, really anything. I find myself using circle hooks a
It's a
lot.
little harder to thread on a circle hook, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, it works pretty good.
It's really just the initial startup of threading it on there. Once you get it past the first,
The barb.
yeah, once
Yeah.
you get it past that part, it's pretty easy.
Well, um, I guess that's it for gear on the table. Let's get into our main topic. So there's certain survival skills that are important for being lost. A broad example, which doesn't always work, so don't trust this. Moss typically grows on the north side of a tree. So if you need a cardinal direction, that is a good way to guess your cardinal direction. But, although I have completely forgot how to do this, if you can make a homemade sundial and you have a timer, a 15-minute timer that you can use, whether it's a phone, a stopwatch, or anything, if you mark where the sun was after in an open field, so just a little stick, you mark where the sun was, 15 minutes later you mark it again, you can use that to figure out your cardinal direction. I don't remember how, but that is another way. Um, hopefully you can use a compass. But Jaden, uh, I'll tell you this: if you're gonna use a compass and you want to head straight north, I'm sure you know this, but you take your compass. I'll go ahead and pull mine out. So, a other types of compasses, you can actually turn the dial to get the exact degree you want to go to, and you just like say you want to go southeast. You take so it will say you turn it to southeast. So like you turn the dial to southeast, and the magnet, which is technically pointing north, will say it's pointing southeast. Well, you just head where it says north, and you'll be heading southeast. Yeah, you head where it's pointing north. So like where north is, so you keep the north symbol on the southeast, and then you hold it where it says north. So you're walking southeast, and that's how you would keep. But what you do is you take your compass. Let's pull it out. Okay, so right now I'm facing directly west. If I look right in front of me, I have a charger. So I'm going to imagine you're looking as far out as your eyes can see. You should spot a tree that is exactly whatever direction you want to go. You want to go west? Point it west and look at the tree and walk straight towards the tree. Because if you just look at west and you walk straight, you could be keeping it pointing west, but you veer off by hundreds of yards over a mile because you don't find a target. You need to find something to stare at that is the direction you're going, and that will keep you on a same plane of line. And in the scouts, we kind of learned, we did some treasure maps. They gave us the starting point, so like it was marked off, and then we had a written paper where they would tell us to go 15 degrees north and go so they would measure how many steps it takes us to go 100 yards. So we'll say it takes you 105 steps to go 100 yards. And it says you need to go 50 yards. You cut that in half, that's about 102. Or, sorry, 52. So you need to go 52 steps. Vice versa, if you go less, so you'd figure that out. And so that's how you would solve puzzles. Once you get to that point, you would look the other direction and whatever direction you need to go. And we were able to find where they hid the treasure. But compass, knowing how to work a compass is very important. If you're hunting somewhere that has one road as a river, and the river and road run parallel, well, if you can find the river or find the road, you can find your way back. If, or for example, if you can find power lines where power poles are running through, if you can find those, you can find your way back. You just have to know what cardinal direction your surrounding points are. And these points need to be something that runs on a straight line, whether it's running southeast by northwest or running south and north. You want something that runs in a straight line so no matter where you hit it, you're on it. So I feel like, I, is that everything? What else could you say about, I guess, compass for being lost?
Pick a direction and stay in it. Don't just keep flip flopping directions. Like, if you're
Yes.
lost, don't go north for a couple miles and decide, hey, maybe I should go south now.
Yeah.
Pick a direction and stay in it. Like,
Um.
once you zigzag, you can end up farther off trail and harder to rescue if you needed to be
Yeah.
rescued.
So I will tell you this. In the scouts, what they would tell us, if you're not confident where you're at, sit still, stay in the same spot. Because a lot of times when you wander, you're going to end up wandering to the completely wrong spot. but they talk about sitting still because people are looking for you. But if you know for a fact that it's going to be a while before people are looking for you and you need to save yourself, I would almost always say, yeah, I would just say go one solid direction for a long time. If you have no idea where you need to go, you don't know the maps of anything, I'll just say pick a direction. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Whichever way, the reason I say trust your gut is because this one time I was walking and I got lost in the woods, and I'll tell you another story about this in a second. I was hunting with my grandpa. We were looking for a place to hunt in these woods, and I didn't really like the spot he found. I was like, I'm gonna wander this way. I'm gonna try and find the spot my cousin was telling me about. And he's like, okay. So I thought for sure I was walking the same way back. And halfway through my walk, I'm realizing I don't recognize anything. So I stop and I think, okay, like which direction do I need to go? And I point towards the direction I was already walking, and I'm like, I'm confident this is the way. I'm just gonna keep walking this way and hope for the best. And I kept walking, and I ended up finding the exact spot I wanted to hunt on accident. The plan was to make it back to the trail, and then go from the trail to the spot I wanted to hunt because it was pointed out towards me that I just walk down this trail for a while and I'd find the spot. So I was told there was a old hog pen, and I was told there was a camera near the hog pen. So I'm walking, I stumble across an opening, and I'm looking around, and I see the hog pen, and then I see the camera, and I'm like, huh. Like, I basically was walking almost straight where I came from. It was about 50 yards to one side, but I was walking relatively straight, I guess. So I was walking fairly accurately. I would say trust your gut. But here's another thing. My cousin got lost, and he calls my grandpa, and my grandpa tells him, "What am I going to do? I can't help you. Like, I'm just going to get lost out there too. There's no way to just randomly find you. The woods are way too big. You know, we're talking about thousands of acres that no one lives at, or no one lives at, I guess is what I should say. But cuz it's like there's so many acres that my family owns, but it's all unfenced. So a lot of times property lines are kind of confused. It's like public private land. If you own a portion of the private land, you can relatively hunt all of the public land, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've hunted a property like that, like an unmarked property, but that's kind of how we've always treated it. But uh, it's I guess it's more of a local thing if you're like in a really small town in a place where no one really lives and you're all like not going to shoot each other. A lot of times that's how they hunt. Out there it's not very developed. It's mostly just there's big deer because it's not high pressured. You know, there's not a lot of people out there. So it's a good spot to hunt. It's just hard to find deer because of that. Um, but he gets lost. He calls my grandpa. My grandpa says, "Listen, there's nothing I can do to come out and find you, but I'll tell you this. Walk southeast. Take your compass and walk straight southeast. And I'll be there soon. I'll see what I can do. It's getting dark though, so it'll be dark by the time I get there." So he drives, and as he pulls in and parks, he sees my cousin walking out of the woods and coming. Because you know why? He walked straight southeast because no matter where you were at on that property, if you walked southeast, you would either hit the fence line or hit the dry creek, and you would know where to go from there. Or you would end up at the trucks. So either way, you were going to find your way back. And so he found his way back from wherever he was at. And it was just because of that simple trick of knowing what direction you need to walk when you're lost. I don't know what you want to say about that, or
I've been lost and didn't didn't do the right things. Ended up lost for hours. So keep calm. Stay in one direction. Don't keep changing direction.
So did you have like a gut feeling of what direction to go and stuck to it, or?
So I did, and we had ran into another person out there, and the person's like, "Oh yeah, you just go that way," and we're like, "Okay." So we thought the guy had knew what he was talking about and stuff. It was not the way we needed to go. The way he pointed was the exact opposite way. Like exact opposite. We needed to go this way, and we went miles this way. We ended up at some random person's house that was nice enough to drive us back to ours, which was about a 6-minute drive, but miles through the woods. Like, don't don't go out there and just wander and just keep wandering, hoping to find something. If you don't know what you're doing, stay still.
Yeah.
Wait for something, because at that point we had already ended up in water in the middle of winter and all kinds of stuff. So it was only getting more dangerous.
I mean, you had Paul. He's pretty tall. You should have sent him up a tree, and he could have looked out on top of the tree, and he would have found you where to go.
This was like the first time I've ever taken him hunting, so he had like no clue of anything to do to help us. So I'm
Oh
like,
man.
I'm out there the only one that's able to help us, and I just kept leading us the wrong way. All because we listened to some other person out there.
Yeah. So you should have trusted your gut, and
Yeah,
you would have found the right way.
yeah, I should have just kept going the way I was going before we ran into the guy.
Yeah. So, as I said, trust your gut because even if you don't know for a fact, something inside of you knows. Hopefully. Hopefully, I have a really good sense of direction. Like, for example, this isn't even hunting. I was driving this one time. I dropped this guy off, and then I was like, I came from a weird road, so I was like, I bet you I can find my way to this road. So I start driving. I have no idea where I'm going. And then I pop out on the road I was thinking of. I'm like, oh, hey, here we are. Like, I have a supernatural sense for direction. Like, I have a pretty good idea of where to go. Maybe it's I have really good memory, or it's just maybe I have good visualization. But trust your gut. Okay. So we mentioned we were going to talk about hunting and fishing tools. So I don't have all of my tools in here. So I'm going to start with what I do have. Number one, always have a glove. Always have. I should have two gloves in here. I don't see my other glove. I bet you it's in one of my coats. But always have a glove. That is number one most important thing. And I would say a glove, keep your hands warm. Number two, well, I wouldn't say this is an order of importance, but it's what I carry. Except they're both empty. Oh wait, there's one. Except it's hard as a rock. Hand warmers, or an electric hand warmer. Jaden's a fancy Sitka hunter, so he has an electric chest warmer. No, he doesn't hunt with Sitka, but point is, he hunts with stuff I wish I could hunt with.
I would have never had it if I wouldn't have got it as a gift. I would
Always,
have never went out and bought that for myself.
I keep spare ammo. I would show you guys, but I don't know YouTube's rules, so I'm not going to show you any ammo. But I currently have hunting ammo in here and spare hunting ammo. Like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 rounds in here.
I
Um,
hold 5 in my mag and take the
oh,
rest of the box in my backpack.
and I have this. You know what this is?
Screwdriver.
4.
I use them for my scopes and
Yep,
stuff.
that's what I have this in here for. It's for my scope. Will I need it out in the field? Probably not. But if you're someone who hunts in places where you're hunting a far distance and you know you need to adjust your sight,
I had a
because
screw fall out of my scope mount and had to put my scope mount out and had to laser bore sight my gun out in the woods and everything before.
really, that's wild. Okay, and
If I wouldn't have had a screwdriver in there though, I wouldn't have had
I'll
a
come
scope
back to
mount.
that. Toilet paper, napkins, something, because if you need toilet paper out in the woods, don't grab the 3 mittens. Have something for backup. So this is probably what this was for. I'm probably going to need to refill this. But another thing, I told you about this. This is real light. This is by Gerber, I think. No, it's by. Oh, it is by Gerber. It just says Bear Grylls on it. It's a little saw to cut small limbs and stuff. But I've used this a lot, and you really need one. It makes, if there's an annoying stick in your way, you're able to cut it and get it out of your way. Let's show you another thing I have in here. Let's double check my glove's not in here. It's not. I'll have to find that later. A set of knives. You should always have knives in there. I try and keep rope. For some reason, I don't have any paracord in here. But what I've done before is I've tied paracord to the legs, and then you can pull the deer. I think you said you actually have a deer strap that you can pull the deer. But if you don't have a deer strap, you can tie the legs together and use a paracord as a strap to drag the deer or pick up the deer, whatever you need to do.
I've even used that strap. We took and hog-tied the legs of it and ran a big log through it and carried it Native American style out of there.
Yeah, so
Done that with paracord too.
I have this is probably the most important thing. A knife, but not any knife, with a gut hook. Because you need a gut hook. If you haven't gutted a deer before and you're looking to get into hunting this year, when you kill and field dress a deer,
It's not fun
if
without a gut hook.
yeah,
It's
if you do it with a
messy.
knife, you're cutting into that stomach.
Some people, my dad can do it without a gut hook. He doesn't like to, but he can do it. It just takes probably triple the amount of time because you got to sit there and baby it because
Yeah.
one little slip, it's a mess and it's not good. Smells bad. Makes
Oh
it
my gosh.
gets all over the meat. It's hard to clean back out.
Yeah.
It's not good.
So, I guess that's kind of the bare necessities. I would say keep your release in here, but I will tell you this because I know people who have forgot their release because they took it out. As you can see here with my bow, my release is always on the bow. So I am not losing it. I'm going to get out to the woods. As soon as I get out of my truck, I put the release on. Even if it's pitch black, I put the release on. Because I know I have it, and I know I have it ready, and I don't have to put it on later. Not to mention where I hunt, I can't just walk up fast on my spots because there can be deer anywhere in the woods. So, because of that, I have my release, and I usually have an arrow knocked. Especially if I'm walking through woods, I'll have an arrow knocked and ready. That way, if I walk up on a deer, I can take a shot. Because one of the first opportunities I had to shoot with it was my recurve bow. I get out there, I see a group of 6 deer from about 80 yards, and I slowly sneak behind trees, and I slowly get up on them. Dude, I felt like a Native American. I really did. Felt like I was invisible. In fact, I was wearing this exact shirt. This exact shirt with my big, big arms flowing, and I snuck up on that deer, and I had brush in front of me to kind of cover me, and I'm looking at this big doe that I wanted to shoot, but I couldn't get a shot on her. She was too far. But there was this.
Let's go upstairs one.
Yeah, that should work. There's this 6-point buck that is literally 8 yards from me, doesn't notice me or anything. But I don't pull my bow back. I just sit there and look at him because he was way too small for me to shoot, and I could have got my first bow kill, and it would have been a walk in the park. I was right there. I could just shoot him, but I didn't take the shot because I did not want to take him. I waited for that doe, but an opportunity never came on the doe, and that's kind of a lesson you learn. You see these deer, and you don't know if you're gonna get a chance on them. So, but don't ruin your chances. Because if you realize you're not going to get a chance on your target buck and you decide to pass the buck and shoot your doe, just wait for the buck. Like, I'm going to be honest. And if you want to just put meat on the table and you see a buck and you see a doe, if you can't get a shot on the doe but you can get a shot on the buck, please don't shoot the buck. Listen, I understand you're trying to put meat on the table, but like, you want a chance at deer like this, which really we could pass this deer. And you want a chance on deer like this, you ain't gonna get a chance when you're shooting spikes, 6 points, small 8 points. You need to pass those deer that your grandfather that would have shot, that your dad would have shot. To change hunting society, you have to change it. You can't say, oh, the next generation can do it. Because the next generation won't ever come. You are the next generation. You're the hunter. You decide whether that deer lives to grow bigger or dies right there. Because you know this, if you kill a deer that day, that deer won't get bigger. But if you pass the deer and the neighbor kills it the next day, obviously you missed your chance at him. But guess what? He still had a chance to get bigger. And he could have had a chance, could have had more chances if the neighbor would have passed him. But don't shoot them because you think your neighbor will, so you're going to lose your chance. Pass them. Because if your neighbor will shoot them, your neighbor's probably already tagged out, number one. Or number two, he scares the deer a whole bunch and they don't hang around him and he's not really going to get a chance on the deer. So just pass the deer. I've passed a lot of deer people would be happy to kill because of the fact I'm a patient hunter. I understand what it takes to get a big deer. If I have to wait years upon years, I will wait and keep on waiting because I want my name on the Boone and Crockett list, but I will never get my name on the list by shooting a 120-inch deer. I have to pass those deer, and that's what I will do probably until I croak and kick the bucket.
Dude, I thought I locked myself in there.
But yeah, just make sure you have everything you need. You know, you can get by without some of these things, but I would say like that specific knife set will run you like maybe 15, $10. That specific one, that's Ozark Trail. It ain't great, it ain't the sharpest, but it is so much better than the world's. Having a gut, I'd rather have a gut hook and a crappy knife than a $200 knife that gets razor sharp but doesn't have a gut hook. Gut hooks are that valuable. You know, you need a gut hook. I
Definitely.
I really mean it. Like, you need a gut hook. Uh, and you can get a knife that has a dedicated gut hook, like that has the blade and a gut hook, or you can get a knife that is just the gut hook and then have a separate knife for skinning. And a big thing I would tell you is buy multiple knives when you're going to skin a deer, because if you have the choice of buying a really good knife or buying three lesser quality knives, probably buy the three lesser quality knives, because even with the good knife, unless you already own knives, the good knife will still get dull after so much time, and you're going to have to sharpen it and sharpen it and sharpen it. Having 3 knives, you can spend more time skinning the deer. Really, I would say just buy 3 nice knives, buy 2 nice knives. That, or have someone skinning with you, and they have a knife and you have a knife, and say it's your deer, you should be skinning it. They're just there to wash your hands and uh, sharpen the knife for you. You just have a second knife to grab, and you can keep skinning, and then they can sharpen your other knife. Then you can get your other knife back, and then they sharpen the other knife, and that's the best way to do it. I feel like if I kill a deer, I like to have people help me, but at the end of the day, it's my job to respect the deer, and part of respecting that deer is fully harvesting that deer, doing everything as much of it myself, and using as much from that deer as I can. That is the best way to respect the deer. I don't know. Other people will hunt and they'll trash everything. I'll tell you this, I don't really eat the deer ribs, but they go to my dogs. So nothing on that deer is wasted. It's not just tossed in a dump. It's the parts that I'm not eating, I'm feeding to my dogs. And my dogs are super happy. You should see them when you throw them. Our big rack of ribs of deer meat. They're tearing it up like wild animals, man. Dogs love it. Like, what do you think Ruth would be like if she got into a bunch of ribs? How happy would she be?
Probably pretty happy. That dog's happy over anything she can chew up.
Yeah. Um, I think I just respect the animal. But let's get back into gear. What kind of gear do you use? That's maybe just go into similar stuff, and then what you use that I don't have maybe.
Well, for the most part, I carry all those same things, but I think outside of that, the only real difference is I carry a couple different types of flashlight.
Oh,
Like
I didn't show my flashlights. I'll get
I
back
got
on
a
that.
headlamp and an actual flashlight. Both are rechargeable, like don't
Hmm.
need batteries. But other than that, I have like a little multi tool that has pliers and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Never had to use it, but it's there if I do, which pretty sure if I would have had it to fix my scope in the woods like I was talking about earlier, I would have used it then, but I didn't
Yeah.
have it then. But for the most part, I carry the same things. I carry, I still keep hand warmers and stuff. I do have a heated vest, but I would have never bought that for myself, but my wife bought it for me, and it's really nice. So it's really nice. But I still have hand warmers, still carry gloves. I can't really think of anything different that I'd carry.
Okay.
I do have the first aid kit in my hunting bag.
Oh, that's right. I don't have. I have a first aid kit, but I gotta go all the way to my truck. Like we really stretch the importance of having first aid kits. I probably should have one in this, but it is already ridiculously heavy, especially during hunting season when I have all my gear in it. Like, feel how heavy that is. Just now, it's already heavy.
I have
It,
a whole backpack with
yeah,
stuff in it. It's probably four of those,
yeah.
and I carry it every time
But
I go.
I try and stay lighter, although it's still pretty heavy. Oh, I didn't mention calls, although I lost my call. I used to use them, I don't anymore. But on flashlights, let's go into that, talk about what brands we use, and kind of what I do. So I have 2 headlamps that I always have with me. One has colors, so I can do red or green, and it also has a survival mode, which is 5 lumens, and then it has a little brighter modes, and it's a small rechargeable headlamp. And then my other headlamp is a bright headlamp that you can turn and zoom in, and it's a headlamp. So, like, the difference between the two, the red and green one I use for walking into the stand, but the big one, if I kill a deer and it's dark, I have that one to turn on and use to be able to see a lot better. Not to mention it has a blood light on it, which is a UV light, and it makes blood just glow. And I use that, and then I always carry a just a plain old flashlight, rechargeable flashlight with me because you never can have too many flashlights. I've had them die on me, and I am so thankful that I had a second headlamp every single time that's happened because even though you charge them a bunch, sometimes it slips your mind when you're hunting multiple hunts in a row and don't have breaks between them. They just they just will die on you. So make sure you have an extra one. And I have walked out of the before I started doing this and had this many headlamps. I was my headlamp died. I turned on my flashlight and it was already dead. I didn't even know that. And this was a battery flashlight, so not even a rechargeable one. I had an iPhone 8 at the time, and flashlights on the phone have came quite a ways. Not a huge ways, but they're significantly better than that iPhone 8 was. And I used that to walk all the way back to my truck. It was miserable. It was sucky. Like that little flashlight, I was terrified the whole time. I'm scared of the dark, man. And that flashlight did not help. You don't know, man. I feel like as hunters, the dark is probably our scariest thing. Would you agree? Or
I'm not too worried about the dark
so
most of
what's
the
in the
time.
dark? Or no?
Nah, it's usually just the animals, that nocturnal animals. I'm not scared of the dark itself, but
Yeah, I'm scared of
where I
what's.
hunt at, there's a lot of coyotes, there's bobcats, there's wild hogs,
See, that's kind of what
there's
I mean.
other things. I'm not quite sure what they are, but we've got things that are on camera that have long tails. Could be a mountain lion. Haven't confirmed yet, but there's potentially a mountain lion roaming around out there.
I will tell you this. When my uncle was still alive and hunted on Iron Post, he would have pictures of mountain lions almost every year on his trail cameras.
We had a picture of something, and it was right as it was getting dark, so the cameras were in that transition phase where it was going black and white pictures.
Mm-hmm.
It took a black and white picture right at, like, right as evening was going, the sun was going down. It switched to gray. Whatever it is, we can't see the color of it, and it blurred, but it has got a very long tail, and it is not a dog tail. So we're pretty sure there's at least one mountain lion, and it looked like a fairly young one. Like it didn't look full grown, but it
Yeah,
definitely, it wasn't no house cat, because where it was walking through, the feeder is in the background, and its back's only that far from the mouthpiece of the feeder, so it's definitely not a house cat walking through there.
yeah. That's what I'm not necessarily scared of the dark, but what's in the dark. I'm pretty sure I've been stalked by a mountain lion before. That was absolutely terrifying. I've had encounters with skinwalkers. That's what I'll call them. The dark is just, you see things, you hear things. It can scare me. I literally seen this picture of this guy.
The thing that always freaks me out is we got a bunch of owls out there. Those do
Oh
freak
my
me out.
gosh.
Them owls, man.
I had one fly by me right as the sun was rising, so before I could see anything, and he flew by me, and I just heard nothing, and I just seen a black blob fly literally 5 yards in front of my face and fly on by, and I didn't hear a single sound. It was like, what?
It gets me though. They get down there in that valley, and when they hoot, it like
Hoo
echoes,
hoo hoo hoo.
like it echoes throughout there. So you don't know where they're at, but it's so loud.
Where was it the other day I was at and I heard a barn owl? Oh, I was at Pokey's. I heard a barn owl at Pokey's. I heard the hoo 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 hoo. Remember, to identify a barn owl, it'll sound like that. Hoo 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 hoo. Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? That's what you listen for. Hoo 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 hoo. Who cooks for you? Did you know that little trick? Yeah. But yeah, the dark ain't nothing to mess around. carry a gun on top of your bow. Like, preferably you have your bow, and instead of having a stabilizer, just have a 9mm as your stabilizer. Then you're ready
Yes.
for hogs or anything.
You could try to be.
Okay, but besides that, I think that's a lot of what we use for hunting. I guess we could go into what we got for the campfire question. Will we post a video of our hunting setups? I don't know exactly what this viewer exactly means. I think they mean maybe what we hunt with, not necessarily like our hunting properties. Maybe they mean both. I don't know, but I'm assuming they just mean like what we hunt with. So I think so. We'll look into what we need to post our guns.
I mean, I know
See,
you could post guns on
yeah,
YouTube. It's just
we just gotta double check we do everything right and don't risk a flag on the channel. There's 0 flags on the channel, and I want it to stay that way. You know, I've had a video taken down and blacklisted, but I didn't get a flag on my channel. It just kept the video from getting views. That was that one that I had music playing.
yeah.
And even though I put in the description that I don't have rights to the music, it still copyrighted it, sadly. But that's life, you know. So I think yes, we'll definitely show our bows at least. Hopefully, we'll get to go out on the range and explain a little bit of how we shoot. Maybe help you in your form if you're having issues. That and give you an idea of like kind of the quality we've used. I've only used one compound hunting bow my whole life, so I might not have a lot of input about what type of bow you should buy, but I can definitely tell you about the pros and cons of the bow I own, you know. And I can also give you pros and cons of like other things on the bow that maybe you can buy and what do I think about them. But I think so. That sounds good. Would you want to do a video on our hunting setups like our
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say we can. But I guess this is it, guys. May your campfires burn bright,
May your adventures be worth telling.
and may the echoes in the timber always lead you home.